think we're live. If you can see me or hear me, let me know. I think there's a little lag here too, so like there's like a 10-second delay. So you'll say something in chat and I won't see it, but is it working? No audio. All right. Let's see. It shows that I have audio here. Let's see. Volume. Can you hear anything, or is the volume low or none? Low. Okay. Let me try this. Okay, is that better? Better. No improvement? Okay. Let me see. Oh, let's see here. Audio. Man. Let's see. I wonder if I just move it closer. Is that any better? Okay. We're getting there. All right. So I'm hearing now that we're good. So I'm going to assume we're good. All right. Good. Okay. Wow. So we finally got something to talk about, huh? I've been wondering, are we at, we're not at 7 yet. Let's wait for a sec here until we actually get to 7 o'clock before we dive in to stuff. See if you guys have anything. So I'm gonna obviously talk about the quad motor and 4-wheel steering and some of the other comments that teasers that have come from Elon. So if there's anything else, let me know, or any specific questions before we get to 7 o'clock officially, before I dive in. You can hopefully you can see, probably, can you see my screen okay? No spreadsheets today. No spreadsheets. I do have this up here as far as I want to talk about. I'm not sure if everyone remembers this, but way back, the issue of the plaid Cybertruck came up. And I believe, so if you remember, there was a tweet that went out. Elon Musk said, I will drive the plaid Cybertruck. And someone said, plaid, Third Row, back when Third Row was an actual podcast, they actually said it's just the triple motor drivetrain, and Elon said there's a bit more to it than that. And there was a lot of speculation of what is plaid. So I think what we got today was the quad motor is plaid. I'm pretty sure. So in my mind, I wouldn't be thinking necessarily that this automatically means they're going to eliminate the single motor. I'm not sure they'll actually say they're going to eliminate it. They might just do what they've done with like the standard range Model Y, where it's just out there perpetually, and it's going to be like years before they build it. But I also think they could drop it, which I'll talk about. I actually kind of predicted this in the past when I've explained that the non-commercial truck side, buying non-4-wheel drive vehicles, non-4-wheel drive trucks is really rare. In fact, I don't know anybody that has a new truck that doesn't have 4-wheel drive. So I'm not saying that the actual single motor is going to go away. I know there's a rumor about that, but we know from the original reservations. Okay, it's 7:00, so it's official. But I know I kind of start a little bit early. But we know from the original reservation count when they were disclosing the mix that 90% of the reservations were for either the dual motor or the tri-motor. And that's very congruent with my experience. And I just don't know many people that buy a two-wheel drive truck. Certainly not in my neck of the woods. Maybe in California or Texas where they don't get snow. I guess, see that. But it just is really not a very popular choice. So I also think that it's pretty obvious why they would introduce the plaid version. I'm calling the quad motor the Cybertruck plaid. I think that's what it is. And so I think they're rolling out the plaid version. This is just like what they did with the Model S, so that they need the battery ramp isn't sufficient enough for them to go with the dual or tri motor yet. They're not going to be able to produce that level of volume right away. So to me, it makes total sense why they would roll up the plaid first, why they would start producing it. Yes, it's going to be a Halo brand. Yes, it's going to be expensive. I'm sure it's probably going to be whatever, $85,000-$95,000, probably. Who knows? But it's going to be a Halo truck. So I think what we're going to see is that's the only truck. Okay, so let me see. So I want to talk a little bit now. This leads into talking about four-wheel steering versus tank turn. So I think what we're going to see is four-wheel steering, I believe, will be a standard feature, at least for the dual and tri-motor. I think that's going to be standard. But the tank turn feature, it struck me as very difficult to do without four motors. And I did an early video way back, one of my way back videos, might be my second or third video that I did, on how I thought you could do something like a tank turn with three motors. But I think that's going to be part of the kind of halo of the quad motor is the tank turn feature. I could be wrong, but my speculation here is that that's how we're going to see this unfold. So plaid, and then for sure dual motor and tri-motor. And until I see them actually confirm they're not going to produce a single motor Cybertruck, I'm not going to believe those rumors, because even though it's a minority, it's a big minority. I mean, 10% is a lot. That's a lot of people. So I just think it's going to be later. It's going to be, year 2 or year 3 of the ramp before they roll it out. And then we'll just have to see how many of the reservation holders drop off, because I don't know that they really know. So you'll have to see what happens when they start producing the less expensive versions. So prices. Wait. What's the difference between crab walk? Okay, crab walk. Who wants tank turn? Okay, that is I'm glad you actually wondered that. Crab walk, I think, is a gimmick. I do a lot of stuff with trucks. I plow with them. I take them off-roading. I, obviously drive them, daily driver. I literally can't think of a time when I'm like, oh, I need to be able to move laterally and diagonally. Now, am I saying if it existed, there might not be, you might not find reasons for it? I believe the reason that crab walk is demonstrated is because it looks cool, because it demonstrates four-wheel steering. When you look at a regular vehicle with four-wheel steering on, unless you're comparing it to a vehicle that doesn't have it, like from the top down, it's kind of hard to appreciate the difference in turning radius. So to me, what the crab walk feature does is it demonstrates that this is very different than what regular steering is. And it's just that's kind of cool. Now, I was like, they did, where did they do that? Okay. In the Hummer reveal video, they showed this clip as an example of crab walk. So, okay. Oh, see, it's like... I'm going to hold on here a second. Okay, here it is. Oh, I thought they showed it. Okay, here, they're showing it now. All right. Okay, so I'm not saying I've off-roaded everywhere or that there aren't a lot of people that go off-roading way more than me. There are. I'm not saying that there aren't situations like this in the real world where you have tight canyons and you have to make a very difficult turn, and those turns get a lot more difficult when you're in a full-size vehicle as compared to a Jeep or a small truck like the Tacoma or the Rivian. That's all true. That is a very, very, very narrow case of applications. But I think it's just cool. It demonstrates that the wheels are turning independently and that the back wheels are doing something different and that it allows you to do something different. That's my opinion of crab walk. Who would want tank turn? All right. So I did in an earlier video, I explained this, but in my world, there's, for those of you who don't know equipment, there's something, you might know something called a bobcat or a skid steer. It's a little machine, and they call it a skid steer because it actually counter rotates the tires and the machine can turn in place like that. So the one thing is plowing snow. One of the big things that are irritating about plowing snow in a truck is the turning radius. One reason we use skid steers a lot in plowing snow is the fact that you can do what we don't call a tank turn, we call it zero turn, ZTR. This is also very popular with mowers. But that ability to rotate in a single place would be revolutionary for a plow truck. Absolutely revolutionary. It would allow you to do things with a truck that you cannot now do plowing with a regular truck. It would be a game changer. So I don't know who else. I don't know all the other applications, but in my world, being able to counter rotate a truck in that mode would be amazing. Now, the question is it going to be a pain in the butt to switch between tank turn and regular turn? This is very interesting because there was a conversation just recently on Twitter where they were talking about the, what is that thing called? The yoke. And so one thing that people that use trucks as trucks, a lot of times they're used to doing this because you have to turn hard for navigating trailers and again in snow removal, and you're not looking at your hand. And so the idea of a yoke is off-putting for people that are used to that. And then the idea, someone talked about progressive steering, drive-by-wire progressive steering. And Elon said that is what would be ideal. Do we know if it will be in the Cybertruck? I know they require right now, or I believe this is what I heard, that they require an actual physical linkage for steering, but that's just the front tires. So and obviously there's no linkage going back to pivot the back tires. I don't think. Doesn't make sense mechanically. It makes sense to do this with a computer. I don't know if you're a mechanical engineer. I don't know. You'll know, and I don't. My point is that if you can have progressive steering so that as you rotate it and you keep it in place, it gradually goes from regular steering to four-wheel steering to tank mode, and you just keep the steering wheel locked all the way into the far left or far right position, and it just moves through the modes. And it's as you leave it there, then it will just start spinning as you have it hard over to one side or hard over to the other. There's similar things that we have a plow that when we swing it one way or the other way and we hold it in that position, it causes an additional hydraulic actuator to perform putting out wings or retracting wings. So that's a form of sort of progressive control surfaces. One surface, one movement, controlling multiple features based on how long you leave the control based on how long you leave a position in that spot. So a little bit of time, it just does regular steering. The longer you hold it, the more it moves through the progressive turning. To me, that makes the most sense, because the problem I had thinking about tank turn was, how do you actually do it? Because in skid steers, we use a joystick. So it's very intuitive. It's like a PlayStation or something. In the olden days, we did used to use like the tank turn thing, where you would control each side independently. So, but that doesn't work with the yoke. And so I was wondering, if you did tank turn, how do you do it? Progressive steering like that, actuated by leaving in place, solves the question. And that's one example of who would need tank turn. Tank turn would also be very useful in off-roading for doing, so one of the problems with full-size trucks off-roading is you get into switchbacks when you're in ascending or descending mountains. And a lot of times those switchbacks are really narrow, and there's not enough space to swing your front end out and then come back in. That's one of the reasons why Jeeps are so popular, because they have that really short wheelbase, so they can make these really tight turns. But obviously then you have the problem they have with tipping over, rollovers. And so the way you could offset the problem of the navigation around really tight corners with a full-size truck is tank turn. All right. So let's see. Yeah, speed, it would be variable. I agree. I'm sure it would be variable speed. That's the easy part of the equation. So you would make it, because you wouldn't want the even four-wheel steering to kick on at high speeds, because it turns so fast. It would just whip the car around. I'm pretty sure, I think this has actually come up, where it turns off at like 15 miles an hour. That's not uncommon even with regular off-road vehicles. There's like in my Tacoma, there's the rear locking differential. I can only engage it. It will only work up to like 3 miles an hour. So yes, I agree. That would just be built into the code. You only need these features, these high maneuverability steering features, at low speeds, 0 to 10. So, and at those speeds, it's unlikely that you would have problems with it. Okay, so crab mode, four-wheel steering versus tank turn. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, so prior to this, there was a couple of interesting tweets. I'm going to close this. So there was a tweet where Elon talked about, is it here? No, that's the announcement. Okay, this one. So this is like, I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about. This is the tweet that came out about intentionally insane bandwagon, and then also the post-apocalyptic future, and bring that technology into now. So, this is also the same place where you talked about the variable gain steer-by-wire. That would be ideal. So the insane technology bandwagon. This is an interesting tweet, because I never know if Elon, it's like he thinks about every word, and it all becomes self-evident later on. But this tweet doesn't make it, like, bandwagon is something everyone jumps aboard. So I was trying to figure out, what does this mean? Intentionally an insane technology bandwagon. So in my mind, and this is, if anyone has an opinion on this, I'm open to, speculations welcome. But one of the things that has been talked about is one of the things that I have talked about, and I wonder if this is part of what they're meaning, is that trucks are the most customized vehicle out there. Like people always want to customize their trucks. I mean, not always. Some people just take the truck and drive it off lot and never do anything. But in the world of customizations, trucks are by far the custom market for trucks is the biggest. So a lot of Jeeps get customized, but there aren't as many Jeeps as there are trucks. There's just zillions of trucks, and there's zillions of people that want to spend zillions of money. So I feel like what he's referring to here, I'm wondering, is that there are going to be people that are going to be able to jump on board. Technology features are going to be able to jump on board the Cybertruck. In other words, I wonder if this is potentially leading or talking about potential partnerships that are going to be integrating with the Cybertruck in ways that we're used to seeing for regular trucks. Bumper systems, rack systems, winch systems, but that do things none of them do, that have intelligence, that have cameras, lights, monitoring, things that normal upgrade features for a truck can do, that are available, but that they can't do these things that are related to technology. I'm speculating here, but it's obvious, again, I'm so excited because I love the fact that it feels to me like Elon's out there looking at what everyone else is doing and he's playing one-upsmanship. And I know that when the main brands come along, there's going to be a bunch of both factory upgrades and third-party upgrades that are going to be available. And it's hard for me to imagine that they're not thinking about how they do that on another level. So I think that's very interesting. I had talked about smart, what I call powerlets, smart powerlets, basically power outlets that are all over the truck that you can plug in aftermarket upgrade things, but it integrates into the actual operating system of the Cybertruck. So I'm reading into this, that's what it means. Technology bandwagon. Bunch of people are gonna get on board. They're gonna be doing upgrades for the Cybertruck, and also Tesla will too. Though I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's an accident. The trailer that they showed in their pictures. I don't think that trailer. I think there's something behind that. There's also the camping module and upgrades. So to me, I think one of the things that they're going to be talking about are some of these upgrade things that you're going to be able to add that everyone's been wondering about: winches, bumpers, racks, lights, all that other stuff. But I think it's going to be on another level. So the other thing is Cybertruck will reach into a post-apocalyptic future and bring that technology to now. I am very curious what that means, if it's alluding to things beyond what we saw in the reveal. And one of the things that now this makes me think of is this. I don't know if you guys all remember this idea of water distillation as the Cybertruck. So if you remember, he was talking about the HVAC system, and then he was talking about obviously we know about the HEPA filtration, but water distillation. It's weird, but I really want to do it. Okay, so, and then maybe the Cybertruck will have it. So when I start thinking about post-apocalyptic, I start thinking about all the tropes. People, you have like the Mad Max apocalypse and zombie apocalypses and all the different apocalypses. And you start thinking about what are the different scenarios that he could be thinking about, that he's teasing in this whole post-apocalyptic thing. And I'm now thinking, I didn't think this was that, probable, but I'm now wondering if this is one of those things that he really wants to do it. It's weird, but I really want to do it. I guess I've come to believe when Elon says that, it's probably going to happen. So I think that, useful. It's not just, if you've done much camping, water is a pain in the butt to haul it, manage it. You run out. You got to go when you're overlanding. You have to either bring enough water with you, or you have to filter water. And even if you have water filtration, it's a pain in the butt to go stand in the stream, collect the water, run it through the filter. It's just tedious. Like water, when you're not, if you haven't done this stuff, you don't think about it. But when you do remote camping, boondocking, overlanding, off-roading through really remote areas, it's surprising how much of a bummer it is to deal with water. We use a lot more of it than we think of. And then you're like, crap, we're running out. We got to go get more. Where do we get it? Blah, blah, blah. So it's actually kind of a big deal. So I don't know. I'm only mentioning that because I think it's pretty obvious. He's been silent for months, has said virtually nothing. And all of a sudden we get all these little GIFs popping up in the store. We get these weird comments. Then we get this thing about the 4-motor. We get the leak. Usually Holmars is pretty, like, they're pretty good with the rumor mill. Like, I know they have some good sources. So I think that all of this is pointing to some things that people have speculated on that are going to be revealed, features that are speculated on, and then the very fact that Elon is going to come back on this next conference call and he's going to provide a roadmap update, and they're dropping, I mean, it's so obvious there's just big Cybertruck stuff coming. You just have this sense they dropped the 4-wheel steering thing. I don't know, what was that? 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whatever, 5 months ago, and then radio silence, and then they showed the revised Cybertruck driving around. They had the slightly modified nose and the mirrors and all that stuff, and then just the pace and the tempo, and like, what's the whistle? Like, what is this? There is no way. I don't know. I've seen what speculators are about, like it's a whistleblower. I don't know. To me, it just makes me fascinated. He's such a good marketer, isn't he? Kind of blows your mind. No, I didn't order a whistle. I didn't order any of this stuff. I think it's funny. Yeah, I haven't bought a single piece of Tesla merch. It's not my style. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I know. Well, same with like the tequila, all that stuff. All that stuff, like the Nada flamethrower, all that stuff becomes a collectible, goes up in value. But if I want something to go up in value, I just buy Tesla stock. That's my strategy. That's what I collect. I collect Tesla stock, and hopefully Cybertruck soon. Okay. All right. So I think that's all that was all I had to cover. All I wanted to, like, I'm sure, yeah, it was fun. It's exciting. Except maybe with that rumor about the single motor and then prices, right? We don't know what's going to go on with prices. I'm pretty optimistic that I don't think they're going to go up. I see some people speculating on like $100,000. I don't think so, because you've got the Rivian out there at $80,000, the R1T with the extended battery, 4-motor R1T. I don't think Elon is going to be beat. That's just my own very primitive psychological profiling, but I don't think he's going to let Rivian. My opinion is he's going to make it very difficult for the valuation to not be way more compelling than the Rivian, in at least in his mind. And then we'll just see how the rest of the market is. But I don't think the Plaid will be. I would be surprised if it's more than 90,000. My guess is sub 90,000, just based on the Rivian. I think there starts to be a lot of, I think now you're like, oh, it's just another Hummer, blah blah blah. So I think he's pretty sensitive to the value side. So yeah, that's my thinking on pricing. I don't think it's going to go up by more than, who knows? We'll see, I guess, right? Because even some of the mid-range stuff have gone up by 5,000 or 6,000. So I suppose that's probably, we're likely to see whatever has happened with the other vehicles. It's quite possible we'll see that kind of a price increase, unless we start to see supply chain, stuff starting to calm down. But just like, I think steel prices are still really high. I just think everything's gotten more expensive. So we'll have to see. But I don't think he's going to let Rivian win the value game. And I also think when it comes to the Ford and Chevy, they want to build the best, most price competitive vehicle. And they have room. They have margin. It's just a question of how much margin do they need to make. So we'll see. Let's see. I will bet. Okay, wait. Big Visk. What can I bet you? I will bet it's closer to 90K than 120K. So, but I don't know. I don't know what to bet. But a 6-pack. When we do the meetup, you remind me of this. You prove it's you. If I lost, when we do a meetup, I'll buy you a beer. Big Visk. That's why I haven't done anything with the meetup, because there's no Cybertrucks yet. So I will do this. I will this coming year, I will go out. I will do the scouting thing. I still want to do it out in Central Colorado. That's not off. It's just that there hasn't been anything going on. There's no Cybertrucks. There's nothing to do. So it's like, what am I going to talk about? So yeah, but I'm still planning on doing the meetup once we actually, there's actual Cybertrucks that could exist. So I suppose, yes, it's technically possible there could have been some Cybertrucks that could have gone to a meetup this year, but we didn't know, so I didn't plan on it. But it's going to have to happen next like 2023. So anyway, okay, so I think. Well, I'm not going to make multiple bets, Fractal. I took Big Visk's bet, so. If he doesn't take me up on it and you do, then I'll buy you a beer at the meetup. So, well, yeah. All right. So let's see. Yeah. I don't know how the motors will work, all that other stuff. I'm just expecting there's going to be a premium. There was, at the reveal, it was basically $10,000 per stage. I could see the plaid one being 20,000 more, but I think Elon understands trucks are different, and it's gonna get. I mean, if it gets too expensive, they're basically gonna say we all made fun of the Hummer, and then the plaid costs more than the Hummer. I just don't see that happen. I cannot see Elon Musk letting the Hummer beat him on pricing. I just think impossible. No freaking way. That's just my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think he's going to keep it under 100,000. And does that mean I'm going to buy it? No, probably not. I can't afford 100,000. I'm stretching at 70,000 to get the tri-motor. But someone will. I wouldn't buy a Model S either, but there's a market. So we'll see. All right, Big Visk, you're on. You got to be at the meetup though. So there you are. Okay. Yeah, the reason, so why am I thinking Central Colorado for the meetup? It's because last time I checked, it was one of the best off-road areas that had pretty good supercharger support. So they've got superchargers in multiple places that would make, so what you're kind of hoping, what I kind of want to be able to do is I was wanting to make sure that even if someone came with a single motor, which I know is not going to exist, I was wanting to make sure that the routes would be set up so that if a single motor person left camp, that they would be able to make it to the supercharger in an off-road scenario. So that's why it's kind of important that there be a kind of a good supercharger infrastructure in place. So at this point, that could have evolved now because I haven't looked at it in probably a year. But that's why I'm thinking Colorado, and great off-roading and beautiful Rocky Mountains, and kind of central, at least to the western United States. So yeah, that's that. Okay, all right. I think any other. I think. Do you think the Cyber Whistle is resistant to a 9mm round? Well, that sounds like a great video. If someone gets me a Cyber Whistle, I will see if I can shoot it with a 9mm. I'll see if I can. I gotta figure out where. Yeah, I can do that. I have friends I can go shoot on their land. So I would definitely. If someone gets me a Cyber Whistle, I'll take it out and see if it's resistant to a 9mm. If I can hit it, that's a little freaking thing. All right. I think. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. We got through that. I just thought there was a lot to talk about. I have some other videos, ideas that I want to do now based on this, but it's not really necessary to, like, as far as the live stream goes. I think we all just wanted to, like, vent our spleens, right? Okay. All right. What will I think? I don't think the range of the quad will be substantially more. Could be. I don't think the range. I mean, I think you're still wanting. Yeah, I would think the range 500 miles. Frankly, we're starting to see some of these EV makers coming out with longer than 500 miles, and I'm thinking, who drives 500 miles without a charge, without stopping? I'm sort of at some point I'm just like, okay, but the difference is with the truck, you want that 500 miles for towing because you're going to lose 50 to 65% of your range when you're towing. And so that's why the 500 miles is a big deal, because that lets you get to 250 towing. And if the supercharger network is, 150 miles apart, you're not sweating bullets getting to the next supercharger. Yeah, I know there's no pull-through superchargers yet, but or not very many. But now that they're starting to build mega chargers, I'm pretty sure they're going to start getting pull-through superchargers. Thinking about Cybertrucks, it's gonna, it'll be a process, but yeah, I think 250 if you're lucky. That's a light load. That's really aerodynamic. It's pretty easy to get to. It's pretty easy to lose 65%. Like, it's really common, in our Tundra, we can be towing a relatively small, like just my motorcycle. 1,500 pounds total with the trailer, maybe 2,000. No, probably not 1,500. Not sticking up above the truck. The height is actually below the cab, and that knocks our mileage down by 40% in the Tundra. So yeah, 65. I mean, if you're up closer to that, like 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 limit, or it's a big boxy thing, not very aerodynamic, you're not going to get 50%. You're going to be, yeah, no way. It'll drop. Because when I'm towing stuff like that, I go from like 17 or 18 miles per gallon down to like 6, 7, maybe 8. Maybe lucky, got a tailwind, that, yeah. 50% is a good day when you're towing anything heavy. Yeah. I think so too. Environmental, I think it's going to be similar range. I just think they maxed out the range with the tri-motor in terms of the benefit to weight. And at some point it's just like, why do you need that? You don't need that much range. So, I mean, the upper range of the Tesla Semi is 600 miles, granted, towing a load. But my point is, you just, at some point, you're like, you don't need it. All right. Uh, ba 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 ba. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. My take on the plaid is the reason they're doing that is I don't think people buying a plaid, my opinion, my observation about people that buy those kinds of trucks is that they're not going to care that much about the credit. So I think the dual motor and tri-motor, those are people that the credit will mean a lot to them. The kind of people that will spend $100,000 on a truck will spend $110,000 on a truck. That's just how it is. So I think they're just doing this because of battery capacity. They need to start with the expensive. They need to start with a truck that's not gonna have a massive amount of demand, so until they get the batteries ramped and they get the production quirks figured out. That's my opinion. Okay. DDD. Yeah. Okay, Cliff. Yes. Good point about the AC with the AC running in the summer. I'm wondering, is that yeah? So okay, so maybe yeah. There's a good potential reason. I would wonder if you would have certainly for the larger range Cybertrucks. I wouldn't think you would lose as many miles because like the mass of the Cybertruck is so large, but the interior that you have to cool isn't any different, meaning you'll have a much bigger battery with a Cybertruck than you would with the standard range plus. So I think as a percentage with a Cybertruck, your environmental loss, your heating AC loss is going to be a smaller percent of the range just because of that variable. All right. Nicola Badger. What? Did someone talk about the Badger? Did you guys see that Sandy Monroe, that Nikola actually has a prototype of their hydrogen truck that Sandy Monroe has been checking out? So I don't know if that's going to be a very interesting story someday when someone actually talks about what really happened inside there. So, you have the old. Oh, you don't have the new octavalve. Okay, so you have the old the pre-octavalve pump. So yeah, that would obviously we knew that was an issue before that. So that's a good point. Okay. Mark, I don't know about the weight. I do know that Sandy Monroe doesn't think that the weight will be an issue with the Cybertruck. And he's had, I got to look some more at his take on the weight issue. So I'm not sure what the offset is there. I'm not sure what the offset is. Oh, hey, another one of the apocalypse things I thought about were run flat tires. I forgot about run flats. Early on, people asked me about run flats, and I was like, oh man, run flats, when you run them in machines, they beat the crap out of you because they're so stiff. But I hadn't thought about how the air suspension could actually offset the problems that run flats have. And then I think there was just a story about how Tesla was thinking about testing the new Michelin run flat system. So that's another thing I was thinking about, were run flat tires. Because, in the post-apocalypse, people are always getting, like, the zombies catch them because their tires go flat. I was trying to think of all the tropes. Like, you can't get to your car, and because you can't get to your car, you can't get away. I was trying to think, okay, what are the different post-apocalyptic tropes that Elon Musk is playing on? My imagination was going on that way. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, he said that about the Cybertruck. But again, Sandy's he's kind of speculating. We don't actually know. We don't know yet. I agree. I tend to agree with him. I mean, his opinion holds a lot of sway with me. But it's like, I don't know. Run flats. Mark, have you ever tried to change a tire off-road in the mud? If you have, then you would appreciate why sometimes you would be willing to pay for run flats. I know they're expensive. I just think that if you can, there's definitely a group of people that run flats would be very appealing for. I, especially as an off-roader, I hate, especially on my motorcycle, because I don't have a dirt bike. I have a big adventure motorcycle. I hate having to change. I hate having to change a flat tire on the road. So I mean on the trail. So it's never even. It's really tricky to get the jack stand up. It's a pain in the ass to do everything you need to do. It's just really pain. Okay. So yeah, Fractal. I would say it's I think Tesla has a lot of margin built into their equations, and I think I think their decision will be based on both a combination of actual supply cost increases, but then also positioning and market share. So I don't think they're going to want to, in my opinion, they want to crush the other. I think they want to crush the other truck companies. I think that's they don't come out and say it, but I think that's what they want to do. So I don't think price in this case is just about margin or just about costs. I think there is especially in North America, there is a very big amount of bragging rights tied to, truck sales. Trucks are the number one vehicles that sell, like by model, like they sell more than any sedan or any SUV, and there is a tremendous amount of bragging to be able to go out and like wipe the floor with the quote unquote legacy brands. I think that's very important to Elon. I think. And so I think that if there's a pricing war, I think he's gonna win it. That's my opinion. But I don't know. I'm just speculating. So I think that they're already, their margins are already 3 times better than the industry standard. They have room, they have wiggle room, and if Sandy Munro's observations were right about once the Cybertruck is ramped, what the cost differential will be per vehicle, I think there's a lot more flexibility with the Cybertruck than other people have with their trucks. I guess that's my point. And I think that I wouldn't be at all surprised if the F-150 Lightning and the Rivian are selling right. They're losing money every vehicle they sell. That would be my bet. They're losing money every vehicle they sell. So they don't care so much about price. They care about getting out in front, having that market share, and getting enough volume to ramp so they can get their costs lower. So I think we'll see. We'll see. I'm skeptical that it's just an automatic cost went up. We're going to go up the same amount of price in the Cybertruck. We'll see. TBD. That's my impression. They can afford to do it with the other vehicles because they're already winning, right? Their other vehicles are already number one. They don't have to prove anything. Model S, Model Y, Model 3, they're number one in their category. So yeah. But with trucks, I got a feeling the swinging dick factor comes into play. That's my very personal opinion about the pricing side. Okay. I don't think it'll necessarily hold. I don't think they're necessarily going to hold to that. But I think they intend to win on price with the Cybertruck. I really do. So that's why I think you look at where the other vehicles are coming in. I think they're taking that seriously. So for instance, the entry-level F-150 Lightning with four-wheel drive, they're like pro model or whatever was like $49,000 or $39,000. I can't remember what it was. It was a really good price. I think Tesla is going to go, we're not going to let them win there, and we're not going to let Rivian win there, and they're going to get their price value equation to be a better value for the buck, more performance, more features, blah, blah, blah. But who knows? I don't know. No crystal ball, but I just think, don't think Tesla doesn't have, they don't use the same equation for their models aren't based on the same traditional models. So I don't think they need to raise their prices like, like just to match inflation. I don't think that's necessary. Okay. Yeah, well, that's what I think. The winch, other things that will go. I think that's what the technological bandwagon was referencing. I think one of the things I hope one of the things they're going to talk about is accessories like winches, bumpers, racks, light systems, all that other traditional truck stuff. Plus, I'm sure there'll be some stuff like, who knows? I wonder if there's going to be not a gun mount for the bed. Definitely not a gun mount for the bed. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I can imagine what would happen here in the middle of Truckland. I know a lot of people have but I'm just telling you, in the Midwest, guns are everywhere and they're a big deal. And I could totally see them doing something like that as just something like that. Who knows? Yeah, it would probably be controversial. They probably won't do it, but that's my point. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. And it's going to be very interesting. Okay. Well, I think good. I think we're good. First live stream in a long time. Got some news. We'll see what happens in the future. Definitely not a flamethrower mount. It would be very hilarious. Okay. Yeah. That's what you said, Cliff. A winch with a live load monitor. That's what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see like all the same normal truck things, but with these really cool technology add-ons. That's what I think the technological bandwagon is. But who knows? In the period between now and then, I can speculate about anything. The Cybertruck can be anything in my imagination. Midwest, I mean Truckland. I sometimes say Truckland, which is South, Deep South, Northeast, the rural Northeast, the Upper Midwest, the Plains, the Mountain West. There's Truckland. Wherever trucks are a big deal, guns are a big deal. It's just the way it is. It's life. Even in America and Canada, same way. They can't have all the exotic guns, but they hunt. It's a big deal. So, Well, if El Chapo does that, it will be with the definitely not a gun mount accessory system. Yeah. That's why I think I don't think Tesla would do the gun mount. I could definitely see an aftermarket supplier that they're collaborating with doing that, is my point. I could see doing a zillion things. I'm obviously hoping they're collaborating with a plow manufacturer. I really hope they are. That's one of the main, upfits for regular commercial use is snowplows. All right. Yeah, I might have to move into mine to afford it too, but you only live once. Yes, I know. California is also a big gun market. If you're in California, you know that. So this is my point. People think of California as a place, they think it has all these drive through California and you will see all the freaking gun stores, ammo stores. Guns are big in those parts. Guns are big in California too. Yeah, that's that trailer, Glenn. I don't think it was an accident that they showed that kind of cyber-looking trailer. I don't know if they'll announce anything like that here, because I think the battery, I'm sure it'll be a battery-augmented trailer. That's pretty obvious. I think it's going to be, my sense of it is a battery supply will play into it. So if we really see the LFP stuff coming in, if we really see the new pack assembly place that's doing the power pack modules in California, if we see the LFP supply really ramping up like that. My guess would be that a trailer would have LFP system, and so, but I could definitely see them announcing that. I can't. There's no way I cannot now. The longer I thought about this, I cannot see how they are not thinking about a battery assist trailer. And if we're all thinking about it, they're certainly thinking about it, right? Like that's it's such an obvious grab. A battery assist trailer. It's just so obvious. So and they showed a picture of it pulling it. So again, bandwagon. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're calling that the bandwagon. I wouldn't be surprised. Because all these things, these weird tweets, they always make sense in hindsight. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure practically where the horsepower... There's a trade-off when you get to a certain point where I don't think additional horsepower... Like, it's not a... Like, there's a point where it's just like, I don't think you get a whole lot more gain from it. I don't know where it is. But I just like there's just like the ability to transfer the horsepower to the wheels, and I don't know where that is. It seems like there's just a threshold that getting more doesn't help, but I don't know if the motors are the same size, then probably something like 12 or 1300 horsepower, I guess. All right, so. Well, we don't know about pinball, and we have nothing from Tesla as far as vehicle to grid, vehicle to home. So we don't know that Tesla doesn't, if they make that a possibility, we don't know that there wouldn't be some special adapter that we would have to get. We just don't know. So hard, at least Ford has announced something. They have something. I'd like Tesla to say, hey, here's our vehicle to house, vehicle to grid solution. So I think that's a no-brainer because Ford already has announced it, and I don't think they're gonna walk away from that. People like that feature. All right. I don't know. That's Mark. That's like engineering. There's math in there. You're making me uncomfortable. Okay. What does a cyber whistle look like at first glance? A Cybertruck? I don't know. Okay. All right. Okay. That's good. I think we're good. And we're almost at an hour, so that was good. Thanks for everyone joining in. Love the comments. Love the bet. Looking forward to getting my beer. Okay. Vehicle to home. Just pull the main breaker, unplug. Yes, server. I don't even know. Electricity makes me really. I don't even like touching wires. I have like a phobia of that stuff. So if it's more than just I just want to plug something in. That's my level of comfort around electricity. Let's see. Yeah, Big Visk. All right. Yes, I hope you do too. Be better for all of us. Or I hope I win too. That yes, I want it to be cheaper. All right. Okay. Hey, awesome. Good to check in with y'all. Good to see some new people on here. Some of the old, original OGs. And yeah, there's going to be more to talk about now. So we'll definitely get the pace of videos back going again. So other than that, it was awesome talking to y'all tonight. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.